Good morning, everybody. Today is the 15th of December 2017. We are here going live because what's coming up is the launch of SPACEX. Good morning, everybody. Today is so yeah, SPACEX is launching a mission to the International Space Station. Hi, hello. Can you see me? Good. Yes, they're launching a mission to the International Space Station. Oops. Hello. And we're gonna watch this. What I was trying to say is the fuel tank. The long fuel tank is I guess the first time they were actually reusing one of them. So what I'll do is I'm just going to bring them in because they're commenting and talking about what's happening all the time. So but back to them. We're going to watch this. What I was trying to say is, oh, that was the wrong one. Excuse me. Back to them.
Thrust vector control checkout that we were talking about. The Falcon 9 rocket stands atop its launch pad at Space Launch Complex 40 on Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, ready to make its first flight of the year. Gaseous oxygen is venting from both the first and second stages of the Falcon 9 rocket. T-minus 3 minutes and counting.
T-minus 3 minutes and counting. Yeah, let's watch.
Stage 1 lock load closed out.
This is interesting. 3 minutes.
First stage of the Falcon 9 rocket liquid oxygen system loading has closed out.
Great.
Again, as Josh mentioned, RP1 fuel is aboard both the first and second stages.
Okay. RP1 fuel.
The oxidizer aboard both stages is liquid oxygen.
Yeah. Liquid oxygen.
Vehicles transitioning to internal power.
Great. Okay, I always got to make sure that I'm close to my mic if I'm going to be talking, because sometimes I have a tendency to sort of talk to you from it sounding like I think I'm right next to the mic, but
Stage 2 locks load closed out.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
But
Stage 2 locks closeout has occurred.
Oh, cool. T-minus 2 minutes and counting. Woo, baby. Okay, well, another opportunity here is to, if anybody's watching live, which I shouldn't really expect.
The autonomous flight termination system will be verified ready for launch at T-minus 1 minute 5 seconds.
Because I didn't really advertise it.
Everything proceeding toward our liftoff at 10:36 a.m. Eastern Time.
Probably should. Oh, nice.
AFTS is ready for launch.
And the autonomous flight termination system is ready for launch.
F9 is in startup.
Falcon 9 rocket is in startup mode.
LD is go for launch.
Launch Director John Murator gives his final go for launch.
To go.
T-minus 48 seconds and counting. Terminal count begins in 5 seconds. The pad water deluge system will be activated at T-minus 18 seconds.
30 seconds and counting.
The main engine controller will command the engine sequence start 3 seconds away from liftoff. T-minus 20 seconds.
Stage 1 pressing for flight. T-minus 15.
Oh, that bird better fly away quick.
10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft filled with science and supplies for humanity's research outpost in low Earth orbit, the International Space Station.
SpaceX Ascent commentary will be performed by several people. The propulsion engineer calls out propulsion events. The avionics engineer calls out avionics health and Dragon separation. The range coordinator calls out Air Force satellite control network acquisition and loss of signal. And the ground station specialist calls out the SpaceX antenna acquisition and loss of signal.
At 1 minute 5 seconds after liftoff, Falcon 9 reaches transonic speed. The vehicle will pass through an area of maximum dynamic pressure, known as max Q, at 1 minute 18 seconds after liftoff. This is the point where mechanical stress on the rocket reaches its peak because of the rocket's velocity and resistance created by Earth's atmosphere.
Around 2 minutes 24 seconds into the flight, the 9 Merlin engines will sequentially shut down, and you'll hear the call MECO, which is main engine cutoff. This first stage will perform a boost back burn about 15 seconds later, heading back to nearby Cape Canaveral Air Force Station Landing Zone 1. We'll show you the landing on NASA TV about 8 minutes after launch, accompanied by the sonic boom just before landing.
Wow, look at that light. That is hot.
MVAC engine chill has started.
One minute 50 seconds into the flight of Falcon, carrying Dragon toward the International Space Station.
A little bit of a windy day.
Standing by for main engine cutoff.
We have MECO.
And we have MECO, main engine cutoff. All 9 Falcon 9 engines have shut down as planned.
And the first and second stages have separated as planned.
7 seconds after separation, the second stage's single Merlin vacuum engine ignites to begin a 6.5 minute burn that brings Dragon into low Earth orbit. The engines produce 210,000 pounds of thrust. At 3 minutes 4 seconds into flight, Dragon's protective nose cone, which covers Dragon's berthing mechanism, will be jettisoned.
Dude, come on. Don't interrupt. Wow. It's not me, folks.
3 minutes 8 seconds into flight.
Boost burn shut down.
And the first stage boost back burn has shut down as expected. Second stage carrying Dragon continues on its way toward the International Space Station.
Yeah, that's right.
Four minutes, 10 seconds after launch, the first stage apogee has been reached, its highest point of orbit.
What are we looking at?
Everything continues normally with the second stage carrying Dragon.
Nothing.
First stage entry burn is scheduled to begin 6 minutes 23 seconds after launch, about 10:42 a.m.
Oops, something's going on. What is that, Mr. Announcer? What is that?
Acquisition of signal in Bermuda.
New Hampshire, acquisition of signal.
The New Hampshire tracking site acquires the second stage in Dragon. Meanwhile, you're watching live coverage of the first stage of the Falcon heading back toward Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, landing zone 1. 5 minutes, 31 seconds after launch.
Oh, so that's coming down. Look at that. So that thing propels the module all the way straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up.
About 30 seconds away from the first stage entry burn.
Then it lets go and comes straight down again and lands. That's quite something.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And stage 1 entry burn is underway.
Oops.
It's a burn of about 10 seconds.
That looks awesome.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And check it coming down. This is amazing.
Falcon 9 first stage headed back toward Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, where it launched 6 minutes, 37 seconds ago.
Stage 2 performance nominal.
Everything going well with stage 2 carrying Dragon to the
Stage 1 AFTS has saved.
International Space Station.
Back down again. Look at that. So you launch.
Stage 1 is transonic.
Stage 1 is past the speed of sound. It's now subsonic.
Landing burn startup.
Landing burn underway. First stage landing legs will be deployed shortly.
Landing burn. Wow, there's enough fuel in there to come down and conduct a guided landing. Lots of fuel in there, obviously.
And a sonic boom passes across the Florida Space Coast as the Falcon 9 first stage makes a pinpoint landing back at landing zone 1 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station.
LZ1, the F9 has landed. Landing operators proceed to procedure 11.100, section 3 on LZ1net.
That is incredible.
Meanwhile, in space, stage 2 of the Falcon 9 continues to carry the Dragon spacecraft.
Okay.
We're 8 minutes, 12 seconds after launch. Less than a minute away from second stage engine cutoff.
Second stage. How many stages
That's
are
scheduled for a mission
So
elapsed
it's
time
MLD and countdown.
9 minutes, 5 seconds.
Copy.
"30 seconds away from second stage engine cutoff.
Second stage AFTS has saved.
"10 seconds away from second stage engine cutoff.
Seco.
Yeah, my dog's excited. Look, listen to her.
And SECO is confirmed.
What's Seco?
In about a minute, at a mission elapsed time of 10 minutes, 5 seconds, Dragon will separate from Falcon 9's second stage, and seconds later, Dragon will reach its preliminary orbit.
Okay, what's going on? I'm going to follow Ruckley today. They're doing pretty good.
Acquisition
See,
signal near
the
the loop.
Earth is round, everybody. See?
Standing by for spacecraft separation.
Told you. Spacecraft. Woo.
And Dragon is making its way away from the
What
Falcon
happens?
9 second stage with the Earth limb in the background headed toward its destiny and a rendezvous with the International Space Station on Sunday.
What happens to that jettison piece? Stage 2.
At 12 minutes into flight, the Dragon will deploy its solar arrays, and then after that begin a carefully choreographed series of Draco thruster firings to reach the space station.
Yeah. What about this thing?
Looking at the second stage engine, which did its job, and now a live view of controllers at the SpaceX Mission Control Center in Hawthorne, California.
Hawthorne.
Less than a minute away from solar array deploy.
Well, where's that second stage? Where's it going?
Dragon makes its way away from the second stage. First part of its mission underway.
Well, what happens to the second stage is my question.
Dragon's propulsion system has successfully primed and all thrusters report ready for firing.
Dog barking. Oh, didn't I mention that today was the dog barking contest of the neighborhood? Here it goes.
Hello. Hello, doggy.
Standing by for confirmation of solar array deploy.
Hang out there. Hang in there. I'm watching SpaceX. It's very important that I watch SpaceX.
Expected loss of signal, Bermuda.
Oh, what?
Expected loss of signal, New Hampshire.
Expected loss of signal?
Looking at live views from SpaceX Mission Control in Hawthorne, California, as a team that assisted in the launch today and is tracking the progress of Dragon.
Tracking the progress of Dragon. Well, I still want to know what happened to that stage 2. Dum-de-dum. This is kind of a boring space launch. Nothing so far that I can tell has gone wrong, so everything's going good. But I still want to know happens to the second stage? Does it burn up, or is it? Oh, well, obviously it's not coming back because they would have focused on it. But I want to know. I want to know what I want to hear him say that it's disposable. So the first stage is reusable. The second stage is disposable. That's what I'm surmising right now.
And we have confirmation of the Dragon's solar array deploy. And as Dragon unfurls its solar wings, the spacecraft continues its journey to the International Space Station.
Dragon will arrive at the station on Sunday, December 17th, and NASA television coverage will begin at 4:30 a.m. for an expected capture at about 6 a.m. Installation coverage will follow at 7:30 a.m.
So with the successful launch and deploy of Dragon and the solar arrays, we'll now go back to Stephanie Martin.
Thanks, guys. And this concludes our live coverage of the launch of Falcon 9 and Dragon for the SpaceX CRS-13 mission.
Thank you very much.
For more information about the International Space Station, please visit www.nasa.gov/station. And for more information about this mission, please visit www.nasa.gov/SpaceX. And don't forget to tune in to our post-launch news conference on NASA television at noon Eastern. I'm Stephanie Martin. From the team here at Kennedy Space Center, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Have a great day, and we will leave you with replays of today's launch.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. It looks like it's all over. Everything went well. Maybe we'll talk about it in the next stream.